This is the Haunted Files Unplugged, where the lights are low, the stories are raw, and the truth is stranger than fiction. Join Mike Delcoro, Eric Vanderlaan, and their special guests as they dive into the dark corners of the paranormal. From hauntings and cryptids to UFO encounters and everything in between. No filters, no scripts, just pure, unfiltered conversation from the world beyond. You're listening to the Haunted Files Unplugged.
Holy motherfucker!
Happy Monday, everybody. It's been a while. Last show we had some technical difficulties, but we're back on track. And I'm Eric. I'm your host of the Haunted Files Unplugged radio show. I'm going solo tonight. Unfortunately, Mike is under the weather, but we got an amazing show, and we have an amazing guest. We have Captain Kent. He's got some interesting stories. He is a fisherman out of Everglades City, Chuskalowski, very familiar with the very haunted Smallwood store down there. I've investigated that several times. And I got a little intro, and then we'll bring him on. And if I can find the dang thing, here we go. Bam. All right, without further ado, let's bring in our guest, Captain Kent Daniels, and here we go. Bam. Welcome to the show, Captain.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we're after we met the last couple of weeks, we're technical geniuses now, right?
I mean to tell you, last time was just about something else. I don't know how else anything could happen. The Starlink blew completely up, having to replace it. The computer tore up, but here we are, finally.
Yep, finally. And people don't understand, like, they don't know where you're at. You're out in the middle of Everglades. Like,
Yep.
There aren't too many people out there. There's no hardwire internet or anything like that. You got to use a Starlink, right?
Most people back in the old days, they would use carrier pigeons. We use carrier mosquitoes.
Right? Yeah, they're like, I was there like, a month ago when I met you, and we went out to an old abandoned plantation island out there, and man, the mosquitoes were like Jurassic Park. I mean, you could hear them buzzing from the time we pulled up to the dock. I thought there were bees. It was wild.
Whenever I was a kid and I started fishing with my dad, that's the biggest part of the reasons that the people started smoking cigarettes and cigars to keep the mosquitoes off your face. And I've seen it go bad at night where we would do what we used to be able to do is called stop net. And this is a place we'd go up, take the net and run it out around that place. And we'd let the tide go out on it. And the fish would have to come to the net. And it would get so bad with mosquitoes and sandflies that we would literally had to pack ourselves in mud to keep them from just almost killing us.
That's crazy. And I forget our guide that we had that day. I forget his name. But man, he was, I think so. He was just like t-shirt. He was t-shirt, shorts, flip-flops, and they weren't doing nothing to him. He was like, I don't care.
No, when you're from here, you kind of get used to it. And when I say used to it, you just get where you just don't pay attention. It's just a part of life.
Right. And Kent, why don't you quickly introduce yourself, tell the people who you are, what you do.
I'm I'm Captain Kent Daniels. I'm actually from this area, and my family's actually from an island or a bay called Fakahatchee Island called Daniels Point, which is 12 miles northwest of here. I was born and raised here on the island, and we're about 8 to 10 generations here in Southwest Florida. I'm actually a fishing guide and somewhat sightseeing in the Everglades National Park. And I also own a company that's called Outlaws of the Everglades. And as most people can see, we do some documentaries and YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And Outlaws is on our family and the drug smuggling. It ain't just about us. It's about the drug
You
smuggling.
were only fishing fish back in the day, right?
Yep. Well, whenever they come in and took our nets away from us, you had to make a living, and that was about the only way
Exactly.
we could, and we
Right.
did.
Right. And it's crazy now. Now that we got dispensaries all over the place, it's like not a
Oh, yeah.
big deal anymore.
Well, it's not, but that's just about like uh, moonshine, rum running,
Yeah. Back in the day, they were running alcohol
prohibition.
back there, right?
Right.
During
It's
Prohibition.
all the same. And
Right.
what people don't understand, it wasn't just here. The marijuana movement was coming into everywhere, Louisiana, California, on the other coast, as far up as
We're talking about the
Georgia.
70s and 1970s, 80s.
I got in it in 1974, and I went to prison in 84, so I had a 10-year run. But what I'm not saying is I was 14 years old when I got in it, but we was never caught for hauling marijuana. And we didn't haul nothing else. We refused to haul anything other than marijuana. They
Right.
never got us. They never caught us. When I say never caught us, yes, we went to prison, but it was on conspiracy. And for what people don't know what conspiracy is, it's three of us or more sitting around talking about we're going to do something. And two of us agreeing to it, and one saying, no, I don't want no part of it. But they don't go turn us in. So we
Mhm.
conspired to do it. We talked about doing it. So that's how they got us.
Okay. And like the reason why you never got caught is people don't understand you're in deep in Southwest Florida, right at the bottom of the Everglades on an
We
island
are.
called Chokoloskee, and that's right in the middle of the 10,000 islands. And when we went out there, I'm like, how can you navigate through this? Because you can get, they were joking, Beth was joking around like, oh, we could just drop you off if you wanted to, and we'll never have to see you again.
Whenever we were kids, and it ain't just me, it's everybody that's here. This
Mhm.
bay was our backyard. Whenever I
Right.
was coming up, mother told us to get in the yard. This island wasn't but 160 acres. She
Mhm.
told us to get in the yard, and we wasn't allowed back in the house until dark. But we better be back at that house by dark. When that sun went down, we better be there. And we might be out here swimming the islands. We might be walking it. We might be paddling it. We might be
Right.
poling it. We might be fishing it. Whatever. That was our backyard. And it is
Right.
a low-lying country, and it is not a forgiving country. If you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna run aground. And there is rock. When I say
Right.
rock, there's cap rock, and there are also boulders under the water in some of the places, what we call rock holes. But your main is oyster bars, cap rock, and then you've got your sandbanks and your mud and all the mangrove islands.
Right.
And you better know what you're doing and where you're going. When people
Right.
asks me about coming down here and learning it, they say, "What is your best advice?" I said, "When in doubt, throttle out. In other words, slow down. When you don't know what's going on, don't give it throttle, pull it back. That way, if you on to run aground, you ain't gonna fully run aground, and you can
Right.
get off. This is a 6 hour tide. In other words, from high water to low water is 6 hours,
Right.
and another 6 hours to high water. So if
Right.
you run aground on that falling tide, you got somewhere around about 6 to 8 hours to wait.
Right. And you've been like you lived there all your life, and you could probably go around it blindfolded by boat.
Oh
Um,
my God,
and there's a lot of folklore and legend. We got you're good friends with Dave Shealy. We got Skunk Ape. Um, we've been investigating the Smallwood store that's right there on Chokoloskee Island in Everglades City. Super active.
Have
And
you say you investigate? Have you been in there just by yourself or even under it?
Well, everyone was telling me that things stop working and people get chased out at 2 a.m.
We used
And
to, as kids, that was one of our hangouts. Even though it was the store, the store is up on stilts, as everybody knows,
right,
and it's about 6.5 foot off the ground. So us kids would get under it. We sat under it down there by the water and we'd play. And every now and then you would hear people walking. And if you would get to listen, you could actually hear it sound like people talking. And there's a many a time, and Lynn still gets phone calls about that place. Lynn, you got somebody in there we're talking. And she'll tell you, well,
uh-huh.
just go on up there and open it up, see what you can find.
Well, we were there. I mean, so there's a history on the Smallwood store on the island, and actually the island was Native American. It was built by the Native Americans, like thousands of years ago. It's Shelmitten.
They
Am I
probably
right?
dated this back 3,000 years BC.
Right. So there's also there's Native American folklore out there, but the main storyline with the Smallwood store was there was a gentleman named Edgar Watson that had a plantation out in one of those islands, and there were people that were escaping the law or escaping something. They would go in those days down there, and you couldn't find them, and Edgar Watson would put them to work, and then when it came time to pay them, the story goes that he would kill them. And then the people on the island found out and took the law into their own hands. And to make a long story short, he came up to the Smallwood store in his boat, pulled out his rifle. I guess it jammed, and then he got riddled with bullets.
Yeah.
And supposedly his spirit's still there. We've gotten Ted Smallwood, the owner of the store. We've gotten evidence of him. And then what was really cool was a month ago, we had the pleasure of meeting Beth, it's Edgar Watson's great granddaughter.
Yeah.
And she had some personal items of his, like his wedding bands. So she took us out to his plantation we were going to try to do a daytime investigation, but those Jurassic Park mosquitoes chased us off.
She
So
actually wanted me to go with y'all. And I told her I wasn't going. I like my blood a little bit better now.
and like mosquitoes really don't bother me, but those mosquitoes, that was a whole different story. No one told me about that.
The mosquitoes. We had the saltwater mosquitoes, we had the freshwater. But now what people don't realize is that there's another one, and we call it the mangrove mosquito, and he's just a little bit smaller
Right.
than the saltwater, and
You're
the
right.
fresh is a little bit bigger. But
Right.
when he gets you, he hurts.
Yeah.
It's a different bite altogether.
But
I don't think he has that like most of them, when they're
right.
put the pin in you to suck your blood. Normally they have a painkiller so you don't feel it. Them jokers don't. They don't have.
No, I still got marks. Oh, look at that! You can see that right there. That's still an active mosquito bite right there from a month ago.
Almost 2.5, 3 weeks back.
Yeah, something like that.
I think, yeah.
But I'll tell you one thing, Beth was like a trigger object for us. We got a lot of activity that night with her. The wildest thing was we had a moment where we were inside and we heard footsteps on the roof, and it's impossible for anyone to walk on top of that roof. It's so high up.
Yeah.
Especially with just us there and nobody else,
Did y'all see the doll?
Oh yeah. We got in some activity with the doll as well. I think we filmed an episode there through Scare TV Network last summer, and like the REM pods were going off around the doll. We had these motion censored balls that light up when they sense motion. I put them inside that what is she in, like a stroller or like a cart or something like that, like a little wagon. And they started going off for no reason. And we were getting What was the gentleman? Tosh? What was his first name?
That was his first name, Tosh.
Oh,
Lauren. His real first name was Lauren. They called him
okay. What was his last name?
Brown.
Brown. So Tosh Brown, he
Yep.
has his boat there because the Smallwood store is a museum. They have all these artifacts that go back to actually the Native American days, and they have a little section. The Todd, she used to be a fishing guide back in the day, and we were getting all kinds of crazy activity right there, and that was pretty wild. And you can watch that on Scare TV Network, Ted Smallwood store, and you'll be able to see it with your own eyes.
There is so much on this island that people that don't even realize. A lot of the people that's actually from here
Mark
realize that there's
Mark Hallock said, "Thanks for putting Ken on there." You know Mark Hallock?
Yes, I do.
All right, awesome.
Yep. But there's actually five. I ain't talking about Indian or Native American.
Mhm.
Five burials,
Yeah,
graves yards here on the island.
right.
People knows about two, but from the Smallwood store back over to the east side of the island, there's a tree and there's a cistern. Somewhere close to that tree was a little girl that died. She had leprosy. Now she's entombed in a concrete box, and then I guess covered with concrete. The way I understand it, I don't know for a fact. That's a little bit before my time, but I know it was there. And then I think the Rice brothers, when they got killed here on the island for the bank robbery, they put them over right down the road here, uh, just before the Smallwood store on another area back in.
Right. And
And then
before, like you
the
can
Hamlet,
you can get there now by bridge. Before you couldn't. It was only by boat.
yeah, 1956 they started dredging the road in, and somewhere around about 59 they had the road, but it wasn't paved, and there was a wooden bridge, and Donna come along and destroyed the bridge and the road. They had
Oh,
to
got
redo it.
you. And for people that are watching, this is a photo of the Smallwood store, and that was built in 1906.
Six,
Okay.
1960. And Watson
And
was they killed Watson there 1910.
okay, so not too long ago.
Hmm.
And so you experienced paranormal activity, things you couldn't explain there. Now, have you ever gone on a skunk ape expedition with Dave Shealy?
No, no, me and Dave grew up together. We've been on numerous stuff out in the woods and everything else, uh, but not so much of what we call the skunk ape. I've seen a lot of different stuff in the woods that I can't explain. That wasn't a bear that I've seen walk, and there was a couple people that actually had pictures out of airplanes that out of stuff. When you looked at it, it wasn't a bear and it wasn't an ape. You know, it kind of resembled a man walking, but he would
Interesting.
be, I don't know, 7, 8 foot tall and just big, just just all the way around big. But
Interesting.
he walked upright in the picture, but it wasn't like an ape. He wasn't slumped over, and it wasn't a bear. I've seen bears all my
Did he,
life.
was it
Whenever,
hairy?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Bears, they will get up on their hind legs and they will take a step or two, but they're not going to walk like that.
Mm.
Bears ain't made for it.
Well, what's
But
really
it's
interesting
awesome.
is like Smallwood store is very close to the Everglades, and where there's have been a lot of skunk ape sightings, things of the unknown. Um, how often had you experienced something like that, like the creature that you saw?
Only a couple of times have I seen stuff that I couldn't explain out there. Normally, whenever you see something, being who we are, human, and you go right to the science and say, "Well, it was this, it was that,"
You're
and
thinking
you'll try to
logically.
explain it away. but there's some things that you can't.
Right.
People asks me all the time, "Do you believe in it?" Well, yes, I believe in it. That just like I try to tell people, there was these miners and trappers that went out and they would come back and tell people about this beaver that had a duck bill on it,
Oh,
and
really?
nobody believed them until one day they caught one in a trap, and then look at the panda bear. How long they've talked about it.
Right,
There's
right,
things out here in the Everglades that has not been seen. Like I asked somebody, till y'all get everybody together and hold hands and walk the whole Everglades, then don't tell me there ain't something out there. Just because you ain't seen it, don't
yeah.
mean it ain't there. I
It's
don't
very
see the air
vast.
that I breathe either, but I know it's there.
Right, right, right. And there's an urban legend that I was talking to our boating guide about that I heard that there's a like a ghost Spanish galleon out there in the 10,000 islands, and he was saying that the Spanish used to go when they used to hide their I forgot what happened. I guess they got stuck out there and they had all this gold and supposedly there was a treasure. Do you know anything about that?
There was a pirate that come in, and their Gomas uh, was supposed to have been one of the ones, and he had a crew with him of I think it was somewhere around about 30 men.
Hmm.
And when he come in, the boat run aground, the ship, whatever, and I think it was down off of Lostman's, and they put everything they could on the schooners, the little boats, and brought
Right.
it in. And him and his first mate, if that's what you want to call him, his friend, they killed everybody else and brought the gold to wherever it was. Gone was wound up on Panther Key back to the north, towards Marco. And my grandfather lived in Fakahatchee Bay, which is about 4 miles away as crow flies. And
Hmm.
he said back in the day, about somewhere early 1900s, around about the time Watts got killed, maybe 1912 or something like this here, it took 12 seaplanes. When I say seaplanes, I don't mean the big planes like we got now. I'm talking
Right.
about like 153s or
Like a little
Piper
single engine.
ones here.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said it took 12 of them to move to get the gold out of there.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
Now they said that he fell off the butt end of his boat. He had a net boat, a gill net, and they said he got tangled up and fell, hit his head, and went overboard and drowned it. I kind of don't believe that. Now he was supposed to be well over 100 years old too,
Hmm.
but living on the islands, I don't believe that. I think if you live on the islands and you used to the nets and stuff, you know what you do and don't.
Right,
But I wasn't there, so I can't say.
right. And you never heard anything like a ghost ship that people have seen out there? Like that's just a wild like thing I looked up about urban legends and myths out there in
There's
Southwest Florida.
there's all kind of legends. I have never seen it. I've heard a lot of different tales about different ghost ships and stuff that's been seen. There's another one that pirates come in and they kidnap the girl, and this is where one of these islands gets its name, Pavilion,
Hmm.
because when they took her, they held her for ransom, and they built a pavilion on the island, and they kept her there, and they kept real good care of her because naturally her dad was a rich man back in the day, so they
Hmm.
held her for ransom. And then she had a dog, but the dog would constantly bark. They put the dog on another island on the south side of the pavilion, and they
Right,
called it Dog Key because that's where they kept the dog at.
right.
And whenever they finally got the ransom, they got to talking and they said, "Look, she knows our face. If we let her go," so they got the cook to poison her, and they killed her and then killed the dog. And the
Oh,
story
wow.
goes she walks the island, but the best one was an airplane crash, and a husband and a wife and a newborn baby. And the woman went through, when they crashed, she went through the windshield and she got decapitated.
Oh
And
wow.
she constantly walks the beach hunting, hunting her baby. My grandfather, which was a man that, he was a man among men. Man,
Hmm.
they wasn't scared of nothing. That's how they made their living, fishing at night, hunting at night, and everything else. And they
Right.
was fishing down there and around Pavilion. And he told them, the people was with him, he says, just put me out on the island. I'll sleep on the island. And he told me, he says, when they got there, he was there about 2 hours and he laid out on the beach and he got to hearing things and he got to seeing something. And he got to holler for them to come get him and they wouldn't. He swam out to the boat. He wouldn't go back to the pavilion at all. You
Kent,
couldn't
you got to
even
take me
go.
there. You got to take me there. I'll put a mosquito
Yeah.
suit on if I
Yeah.
have to.
But that's on Pavilion. Now
Oh
the problem
wow.
is with Pavilion is a lot of people don't realize there was also an island called Little Pavilion. Little Pavilion was actually Big Pavilion, and Pavilion was actually Little Pavilion. But there were time and the winds and the tides and the storms done away with Pavilion. And now, and it's set long ways of the Gulf. So every bit of the waves from the south
Right.
would come in, and anything from the north are the storms. Pavilion was set north and south. Little Pavilion would, the one that's there now. But the other one, it would run from there back towards almost touching Rabbit Key, which would be probably about a mile long or so.
Hmm.
And so, but that's completely gone. And
Interesting.
it wasn't completely gone when I was a kid, but it was good trout fishing.
And back then, like I bet the 10,000 Islands look completely different because of how fast the mangroves, start
Well,
growing, start building
the,
up those islands.
it is the mangroves, and people don't understand this. Whenever, and I'm gonna say it before I ever say anything about the mangroves. Whenever you say Everglades, ever is ongoing.
Right.
Glades is grass. We
Right.
was always called the river of grass or sea of grass. It said nothing about the trees. The mangrove is a brought-in plant to help dry the Everglades up, and there is another reason behind it. Uh, they was trying to resalinate water from salt to fresh, and this is what this plant does.
Interesting.
And it's a useless plant. It takes everything away from your world and gives you
Was that
nothing
the
back.
Spanish that brought in the mangroves?
They did a couple hundred years back, brought some in, but we had a president, and I ain't gonna call his name, ain't no sense, and everybody knew who he was before he was president. He was a great white hunter,
Hmm.
and he didn't. We was using sail, and before we switched over to steam, and we didn't want wars fought on our land. So if our war broke out, he was trying to figure out a way to send our fighting men across the water and be able to have enough fresh water to sustain them. But the problem is to hold that much fresh water, the water would have went stagnant. So they had to have a way to do this. And on some of his trips to South America and Africa, some of the local people got to tell him about these plants. That was a saltwater region plant, but it had to have fresh water to survive.
Hmm.
And if it was an all saltwater region and there was no fresh water around, no rain, no dew, no nothing. And keep in mind that the mangrove is an aerial root, very little under the ground, so there is no tap root.
Right.
Where would it get its water from? Well, naturally, it pulls in the water through its roots. It separates the salt from the water, and it sends the salt out through the leaves. Now, this is an evergreen. The leaf stays green, but every now and then you'll see what they call it's a yellow leaf. That's a sacrificial leaf. That tree sacrifices a leaf to send the salt out through it. And being raised on the islands, if you're out there and you ain't got salt and you're making a soup, you can always take them leaves and put in the soup and get your salt.
I'm gonna pull this up here so people can see what mangroves look like. Switch. There you go.
Yep. And if you ever get around them, I know you have, but get over there by the mangrove and pick a leaf off from it and feel it. You'll notice that leaf is thick, feels like a plastic or a wax. It does not use the leaves to breathe out of it. It actually uses the roots. It pulls in oxygen and sends you carbon monoxide back out. This is an aerial root. If you ever been around a farm, ranch, or whatever you want to call it, anytime you go out there and you loosen up the topsoil and water comes by, rain or whatever, you lose that topsoil. That's the same as these plants. It erodes. It does not build land mass like they try to tell you. It does fall within itself because it's so dense, but it has to have land to grow, so it takes over the land and it's abrasive. It kills everything within its sight, grass and all of it. And they wonder why we have no turtle grass, eelgrass, or whatever you want to call it here, or even salt grass, or even sawgrass in the water. And that's why the water color is here, the tea color, because it dyes the water, the red mango. And that's how we used to dye our nets. We would take the bark off the tree and the smaller branches and boil it to get that color, because our nets were cotton and nylon. And we couldn't put that white net out from the fish. They would see it.
Right.
We had to dye our nets.
All right. Well, I'm going to take a short break. We got some bills to play. I got to play some videos here. And then what we'll do next is I would love to talk about Outlaws of the Everglades. Sounds good? All right. So here we go.
What's up? Mike and Eric from the Haunted Files here, and we got these pieces of paranormal equipment in our hand. Why is that?
Because we want to give a big shout out to the Ghost Hunter store, our sponsor. And you might see some of this equipment on your favorite ghost hunting shows. Is that right, Mike?
That's right, especially the Haunted Files on ParaFlixx.
And we're going to give you a special code for a discount on these devices.
That's right. So if you go to the Ghost Hunter store, you go to the website, when you check out, if you enter the code Ghost Gone Wild,
not Girls Gone Wild,
that's right, you get a discount on your purchase. So check them out. They're your one-stop shop for everything paranormal.
What's up, everybody? I'm Eric, and this is Mike from the Haunted Files. And Mike, we got something special to tell everyone, right?
We do. We have an amazing product here. This is from Haunted Happy Hour, where they make spirit-infused coffee. And what's cool about this product right here is it's the Haunted Files edition. It's a Dark Isles brew.
Yep, and it's got a blend of Irish cream, pistachio, and dark rum. A perfect blend to awaken your dark side, right, Mike?
Hell yeah, it is. And if you're feeling sluggish or you are ready to investigate all night, this is for you, man. And it is amazing tasting. And not only that, but what did ParaFlixx do for us and for the fans?
Well, you're going to get a special discount code that's on the package, and you're going to be able to get 3 months for free ParaFlixx. And who can they watch, Mike?
Well, they can watch us and all the other amazing investigators on the ParaFlixx platform. So get yours today, and make sure you check out ParaFlixx and the Haunted Files.
And if you're feeling dead inside, get caffeinated with Haunted Happy Hour.
Are you ready to explore the unknown?
Eventually.
Brace yourself for a journey into the supernatural. ParaFlixx Paranormal Plus, your gateway to the paranormal, all-in-one streaming service. Dare to explore, dare to believe, dare to stream alone.
It does not want us here.
Sign up now and embark on a supernatural adventure like never before. ParaFlixx Paranormal Plus, the universal home of paranormal.
All right, and Captain Kent, we dropped a brand new video, a brand new episode last Friday. We had the pleasure of going all the way down to Key West, to Fort Martello, and investigating Robert the Doll. Robert the Doll is probably like the most cursed doll in the world. People think
the most famous one too.
Exactly. So I'm gonna let the folks watch our trailer and check us out. It's just Mike and I. We put a lot of it's just us. We're not a big production company, and ParaFlixx, the subscription is super cheap. I believe it's like $4.99 a month. You get a discount if you use our code. So check out the trailer. Here we go.
Just off the shores of Key West lies historic East Martello Fort, a Civil War era fortress built to defend the island, but now known for something more unsettling. Behind its brick walls and arched corridors reside one of the world's most infamous haunted objects, Robert the Doll. Said to carry a mischievous and times vengeful spirit, Robert has inspired decades of chilling stories, unexplained encounters, and letters of apology from those who claim to have crossed it. In this episode of the Haunted Files, we step inside East Martello to uncover the history, legends, and energy that lingers surrounding the doll that turned this quiet museum into a paranormal hotspot.
My name is David Sloan, and I am the doll tender for Robert the Doll. We're here at Fort East Martello.
I'm Dr. Bill Slevin. I'm a famous paranormal investigator, demonologist, parapsychologist, and author. I'm good friends with Mike and Eric, and we're here with the Haunted Files down in Key West to see Robert the Doll. You know, if they don't ask permission to take a picture or they're not respectful to him, that bad things can happen to you. And when I lecture all about Robert all the time, there's millions of stories of people who believe they experienced problems after not being respectful to him.
Well, do I have your permission to investigate you tonight?
You said that, I felt something like just go like this, like across the back of my neck. Dude, it's really freaked me out.
You want to know who you are?
It's me. That's clear as day.
That's insane.
We're going to do the Delcoro experiment. It's a cross between the Gansfeld experiment and the Estes method.
Gonna get ya.
Yeah, I mean, some bad things. I don't know if it's bad things. I sort of knew it was coming, but I didn't know it was going to happen so soon. So this story is the reason why people say Robert the Doll is cursed is because he's in this museum, and if you don't ask permission to take his picture or if you mock him, when you leave, you're going to get a curse. So he has all these apology letters written, apologizing to him because, you know, bad things had happened to these people. And right after we did that investigation, the following week, I got laid off. But I got a better job now, so I'm good.
Well,
it was meant to happen.
Then.
Yeah, I was actually. Robert was watching me.
Yep. But there's a whole other story behind him, ain't it? About
it goes way back. It goes back to the early 1900s. A kid named Otto Graham.
That's right.
Received, and I don't have it perfectly right, but he received this doll as a gift from the housekeeper. The housekeeper, I think, was from the Bahamas or Jamaica, practiced voodoo black magic, and I guess she wasn't too happy with the parents, and she placed a curse on the doll. And then after that, anything that bad would happen, the parents would say, Otto, like, you know, why did you do this? And he would say, it wasn't me, it was Robert. And I think actually, I don't know where it's going. I thought maybe Otto Eugene was called Robert. I don't know where Robert got the name. But so basically, Robert would do these bad things around the house, and Otto would get blamed for it, and he would say it was Robert that did it.
Yeah, they. It's what I always heard about it. The doll had a life of its own when it wasn't
Yeah.
with him and Otto
Yeah.
and everything. But the funny thing about Key West and Dry Tortugas, I had a grandfather that was in prison in Dry Tortugas.
Oh, I want to investigate that place.
That he was Phineas Myers, and
Uh-huh.
he was actually military, and he cussed his superior officer and wound up got thrown in the prison.
Oh,
And while
wow.
he was in there, he was in there with another famous man, Dr. Mudd. Do you remember Dr. Mudd? He's the
He,
one that set the leg on John Welp Booth after killing
that's
him.
right. Yep. I knew he had a relation to John Wilkes Booth. I don't remember how.
And when they was in the prison, yellow fever come out,
Hmm.
and him and Dr. Mudd, Phineas Myers and Dr. Mudd come out with a cure for yellow fever. And
Oh,
being
wow.
inmates, they couldn't do nothing with it, so they gave it to the medic. And the medic come out and went to going around curing people, and he also run into another fella from Cuba. And them two got together and done it. When it come time to honor them, the medic told him, he said, I can't accept it. They said, why? Said, I'm not the one that done it. And then told them who done it, Phineas Myers and Dr. Mudd. And
Oh,
they come
wow.
out with full honors. Phineas Myers did. He
Well,
was
for people who don't know what the Dry Tortugas are, it's another island way out. I don't know how many miles from Key West. The only way to get there is by seaplane or by boat. And it's actually one of these most, I haven't been there, but it's on my bucket list. One of the most beautiful places to visit. You
It
can go
was an old
there.
fort. They
Yeah.
back in
More
the
for it.
Civil War, they actually before that, but they built that out of brick, and the brick come from the northern country because people don't understand back in the day that Key West was Union held, and everybody thinks that everything in the South was Confederate. No, on the water you was Union Navy, and that's where people don't understand that pretty much everybody down here was Union, and the ones that was on the water, well, they went to the other side. But Key West was actually the state seat.
That's a Dry
It
Tortuga.
goes right there.
That's the island, the fort up in the top.
Yep. But a lot
But
of
you
people
know
went
what's
to prison.
they in the way like Chokoloskee Island, and Key West are sort of similar
Yeah.
because they were both burial places, right? I mean, Key West was called Caya Hueso, Island of the Bones. The
Yep.
story goes the Spanish
Yep.
discovered it and saw all these bones all over the place. And Key West is considered like one of the most haunted locations in the U.S. up there
Yeah.
with St. Augustine and New Orleans. There's some
Hey,
odd things there.
y'all need to go out to Dry Tortugas. And
Yeah,
I know it's national park and stuff, but you still get there. And there's supposed to be some stuff out there that goes on, but
that's what I heard.
that goes on anywhere. I think that it's just some that just hasn't fully crossed over or they ain't finished here.
Well,
A lot.
David Sloan said like it seemed like the yellow fever epidemic was at the Dry Tortugas. It was on Key West.
Yeah.
Key West had two forts, Fort Zachary Taylor, and I think I
Yeah.
heard a lot of people died there from yellow fever. And
Oh
then
yeah.
David Sloan was saying at Fort East Martello, where Robert the Doll is, that's an old Civil War fort that never went to action,
That's right.
but they quarantined people from yellow fever in that fort. The colored soldiers, and he said that because it's like there's like these corridors, brick corridors that go out like in a circle almost, and inside one of those corridors, that's where he stores these haunted items.
Hmm.
They had bodies stacked up waist high, the people that died from yellow fever.
Well, not just that, but let's go back to Matacumbia, which is right there to Key, and let's go back to I think it was the 35 hurricane that killed, what was it, 600 troops on the train? And that's not as far back
Oh
as I
yeah,
remember. And they stacked the bodies up, the people did, and pretty much just burnt what they could because there
yeah,
really wasn't much place to bury them. And if
yeah,
they did, where's you gonna bury all the people? What they
yeah,
could find.
yeah.
So that storm there, the storm of Matacumbia, I think it was a 1935 storm. Well, I know the train back down the tracks to there trying to get the troops the guy did, but the storm was a little bit closer than what he knew. And it wiped
Wow.
out, he had the 600, I guess, on there on the train. And I know you could go down there today and look at some of the tracks that's still twisted up and stuff, what that water and stuff done to it. It's something else.
And aren't we at the start of hurricane season now that we're talking all about this?
Yeah. You know, it's like everything. Everything's in
I
the
went
same.
through Andrew. That was like a bomb dropped after I saw my neighborhood.
Buddy, that place over there was something else. Whenever it come through, they come over here to us. We had equipment. We had backhoes, bulldozers, dump trucks and stuff. We actually went over for a friend of ours called Harvey McCormick. I actually stayed over there for about a month, and it was just something else having to clean up what you could
Yeah,
with the backhoe and the dozers and hauling the trucks and back and forth and just
military
yeah,
helicopters flying
yeah,
back and forth. Army
and it,
patrol driving through the
oh
streets, speaking to the looters. It was
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. And then when I got uh, done there, we put somebody else on the machines. I come back and with another friend of mine that had the glass mechanics of Southwest Florida, the auto glass,
Hmm.
and that company here in Naples loaded up trucks of ice, water, and auto glass.
Hmm.
And they would go down there and just anybody could bring it up, we'd put it in. And
Right.
we done that for about a solid week
Yeah.
and just come back. But that place there
Remember
was
the
just,
you
it
remember
was
the
like,
signs? If you loot, we shoot.
yo, man, the Redlands around Homestead, man, it was
Yeah.
bad, but it wasn't
That,
wasn't as bad as what they call the over there around Miami and Homestead area. Kendall, that was
yeah.
wiped out.
I was living in Palmetto Bay, like right off of US one and Coral Reef
Yeah.
Drive, 152nd. But
Well,
I
my
know
God.
further west in Kendall, like Country Walk,
Yeah.
those houses got completely
Well,
flattened.
yeah. Well, that was
There's a wind hurricane.
just to the left of the eye.
Yeah, yeah,
That thing there, that was the wrong. That would be the wrong place because don't get me wrong, the water come in and shit. Over here she comes in on the right. Over
yeah,
there she comes in on the left. So
yeah.
that's not a good place to
And
be.
this was a wind hurricane. It had a lot of
Oh my
wind.
God, yeah.
Yeah,
A lot of people didn't realize even about Donna back in the day, 1960. But over here, she broke the wind scale at 180, and it went on up before it broke. They said it was
right,
over 210 mile an hour, but they was
right,
only saying it was 180. How did it break the wind scale of 210? You know,
right.
if it was only 180. But anything can happen. But I can guarantee you, Andrew was a lot worse than that. She come across Florida. We didn't get the water surge over here in Chokoloskee and Everglades.
Yeah,
We got the wind, and
yeah. That's like us.
yeah, I've watched mobile home roofs completely come off the top, the flat part, and land and sat there. Me and a cousin of mine, Chester Demery, we
Mhm.
look over there with another, like a brother to me. He's my uncle, actually, Craig Daniels, but we all call each other brother because me and him was raised together. We started laughing, talking about, man, we ought to run over and jump on that thing. It'd be the best magic carpet ride you ever had. We jumped on the
Right.
ground and started shaking and lifted up and shot, went through another side of a trailer and shot across the bay. And then
Yeah. Good thing you didn't get decapitated.
Oh man, can you imagine what it would be like being on that thing?
Oh my gosh.
You
But
know,
I wanted to get like deep into your story with Outlaw of the Everglades. I mean, you got an interesting story.
we always do the same old stories. That's what people want to hear for some reason. We're gonna change it up a little bit if we don't mind. Some of the
Okay.
stories is good. I'll get into it how I got into the marijuana. Um, the family didn't get into it until 1976. Uh,
Okay.
I actually for years thought that I was the first one in it in the Daniels family, not around
Right,
Everglades
right.
City. It was already going on. It started actually in the '60s. The man that brought it over here to Everglades and Chuck Lusky was one of my dad's first cousin, Buddy Daniels, and he got in it over in Fort Pierce, and it got hot. When I say hot, the law got on him, and he told them, he said, "Look, his people," he says, "let me take it home to Everglades." He said, it's a maze there, and he says, "I've got people that can handle it." And there was a man over here that was
And
Buddy's.
at that time, you guys were suffering like financially,
Oh yeah.
like because the fishing got highly regulated to the point where you were losing money, right?
Oh my God, they was already the Everglades National Park had us regulated so bad that our South Country, whenever we was able to fish it, whenever we'd leave the dock, we had to fill out a piece of paper, and we had to have a permit to be able to fish it, and
Hmm.
we had to tell where we was at, how many fish we caught, what kind of net we used, and everything else, and had to pay that money. And then all of a sudden they decided that they didn't want us in there. The sports fishermen come in, and they would see us go down there and strike a bunch of mullet, and out of 10,000 pounds, we might catch 2,500 to 3,000 out of the bunch of fish because the gill net is not a purse seine. It's not a seine. The gill
Hmm.
net was used, let's say 4 inch. Well, 4 inch is the size of my hand up and down, and then you turn it. So a mash would be that big around. And then
Right,
you got a fish that's going to gill off it. The gills is his gills is going to hit it and wrap up on him. Any fish smaller than that can swim through it, or the
right,
bigger fish will lay against it. So you got a certain size you catch. You never catch all the fish. You catch about a third. But the ones that wasn't from here, the sports fishermen, they didn't see it. They wasn't catching them fish. And the mullet don't bite a hook in salt water. And
hmm,
that put pressure on us. And then they closed the South Country. And then they started taking the northern country where we had to run 12 miles one way. And whenever they've already took our way of life 4 times away from us. When I say took our way of life, when my dad, before I come along, they took the alligator hunting, and then they took the way we ate, which was the manatee, the sea turtle, the wading birds, and everything else. And we're half breed Native American Indian. We're actually Cherokee on both
hmm.
sides, my dad's family and my mother's family. And they come out to the islands, and they didn't give us time to do nothing. They told us that we was leaving and that we could stay in the house, but we couldn't build onto it. We could maintain it, but when the parents died, that the kids couldn't have the house. And we would leave when they left. We sat out there, and then when we come in to get supplies, because on the islands there is no stores. The closest
Right,
thing to store we had was a small wood store,
right.
and that's where we got our mail. If we wanted flour or something else here, we had to get it there, rice or whatever, meats and
There was a
stuff. We
post
didn't have.
office.
Yep, you had to hunt, catch, grow everything that you had
Right,
other than what you could get from the store. And whenever I tell you everything, my mother and grandmother sewed, and that's where our clothes come from. So the fabric would have to be ordered out of a catalog called Sierra Roebuck. Same way we got our guns, same way we got our shell. And when they took that away from us, they burned us our homes out, run us inland, and then took that way of life from us, and then turned around and took the fishing from us. And guys, they knew, and when I say they, I'm talking about your government. They knew what they was doing. We just didn't. They knew they was
right.
pushing us into the drug smuggling. We just didn't know it. until later on in life after I come out of prison. When you're in prison, you learn a lot more in there than what you do here because you do have time on your hands. And people that's in there, they've already done the study on it. And you learn a lot about your government and everything else in there. I won't go into it right now about the waste and everything that I've seen in prison because that's not part of this one. But one of the days when we get time, we'll sit down.
Or I'm going to come down and have some beers with you.
That's it. And I'll tell you the full story about that in prison because it was the biggest waste I ever saw. I don't talk about the time I'm there. I'm talking about the stuff they throw away. And whenever I got into the marijuana smuggling, like I said, I thought I was the first one in it for a long time. Come to find out, my dad's youngest brother, Craig, now he was raised in the house with us like a brother. And we still think we're brothers. And years back in the 70s and 80s, before we went to prison, even after, whenever you seen one, there were three of us, me, Craig, and Cheryl. Cheryl being the oldest, he's also my dad's brother, not Cheryl, but Sherald, S-H-A-R or S-H-E-R-A-L-D. And when you seen one, you seen us all three. We went together.
Right.
And me and Craig didn't know it, but later on in life, we were sitting talking after we come out of prison, and Craig looked at me, he said, I think I'm the first one that got in it. And I said, how'd you figure? And he got to telling me about that job. I said, you mean the one up there on the bridge that this happened and that happened? He said, how do you know about it? I said, I was there. And he said, where was you at? I said, I was on the boat. I was a captain. I said, where was you at? He said, I was up loading the van. Craig's 10 years older than I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I was a captain and you was a grunt. You know, that's just the way it is of us. We all, whenever you're us, and especially me and Craig, we've been brothers all of our life and we'll stay that way. And when the Daniels family got in it, Craig went to Daddy and Daryl, and he had money saved up. Daryl's crab boat had tore up or something, the stone crab, and he went to him and he told him, to Daryl, he said, here's X amount of money, take what you need. Well, Daryl didn't want nothing to do with it. You get out of my house. Well, sat there and he picked the phone up and was calling my dad. Craig looked at him, he said, what are you going to do, call the law on me? And he said, no. So he called my dad, and Dad come over, and Craig looked at him, he says, do you take all the money you want? He said, I don't want your goddamn money. He said, I want an effing job.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how everybody thought that Daddy got in it, but it wasn't. Toch Brown had a heart attack over in Fort Pierce on the boat. And they took him off the boat and they had to have somebody. So Buddy come over here and got Daddy and took him over there and took him out, put him on the boat, and told him to bring the boat in to offload it. Well, if you know anything about my dad, he didn't slow down to where the boats were. He brought her right to the dock and tied it up at the marina.
Mm-hmm.
And when they asked him, why did you bring it here? He said, why pay over them boats when y'all just back the trucks up here and load it?
Right.
He didn't say it's a waste of the money. Daddy was the kingpin. He was the head guy of the Daniels family. Daryl, being the younger brother, and him and Daddy always done everything together. Daryl left this country when he was 15 years old, and he went to Pennsylvania with another brother, Dwayne, which was one of the older ones. In the Daniels family, there was 6 boys, no girls. The lineup was Wade was the oldest, Dwayne, Randall, Daryl, Cheryl, and Craig. And Wade lived in Marathon in the Florida Keys. Dwayne, he went into the Marine Corps. He was in Conoco, Virginia, and his best friend in there was a twin, and his twin was a woman, a girl. And he showed Dwayne the picture of his sister, and Dwayne said, I'm gonna marry her. Well, he did. Daryl went up there with Dwayne. Dwayne was learned how to lay brick and block and concrete. So Daryl went up there and worked with Dwayne and them, and he didn't come back down here until he was 20 some years old. And so Daddy and him got together, and Daddy taught Daryl the water, what he didn't know. And Daryl was good with math, and Daddy didn't want to do the running, like setting the jobs up. Daddy wanted to handle the water part of it, and he did. And Daddy was good at it, and Daryl was good at what he done, and it made one heck of a good partnership. And what people didn't know about the Daniels family, we was all equal. We all made. If I didn't want to go on a job, I said I didn't want to go. If I wanted to go, I was asked. We wasn't told that we had to go. It was we wanted to go. And that's what made us, because we were family. And if you wasn't kin to us, you didn't get in with us. My boat.
There's trust issues.
But I had to go tell them who I was going to put on my boat. And I kept the same crew on on the smaller boat, and I didn't change out. That's the way things was done, and I liked the person that was there. I could trust them. Now offshore, when I had the 75-footer, that boat had a crew, and there was one guy. I'll just call him Johnny. He was the one that I'd pick up the phone and call him. Said, Johnny, get the boat ready. We're going to be gone fishing for however days it was, if we was going to Columbia or we were just going offshore, if we was going to Jamaica. And when I told him how many days, that would tell them how much groceries or fuel and ice stuff put on it. And he had the crew. I didn't have to worry about the crew or nothing else. Now, I didn't run that 75-footer all the time, but he would. A lot of times I wouldn't go if I had something else I had to do. And the family made up out of the whole Daniels family, and then we had some of the Stokeses, which was married into the family. Odolph Stokes, Brett Stokes, off and on Mike Stokes worked with us. And there was other crews. There was 4 or 5 other crews other than us. We was just the ones that, I don't know how you say it, luckier. I don't say we knew the water.
More fortunate. Very fortunate.
Did we do dumber stuff or stupider stuff? Undoubtedly. I mean, did we get chased? Yeah. Did they shoot at us? Yes, they shot at us. They done everything they could. Helicopters, airplanes, anything they could do to us. And people says that was about the easiest job you could have. No, it wasn't. It was actually nerve-wracking, and it was heavy lifting. You constantly you had to stop and think about it. Them bales was anywhere from 80 to 120 pounds. And if you had to put that stuff out in the woods, then you had to step off the boat, and they would hand in a line, and they would hand you a bale, and you hand it forward. You might be standing in mud waist deep, into mosquitoes, into heat, or either cold as heck or whatever. And in the mud, you have what we call mud stickers, and it's about like a red bug that gets in under your skin. And then the mosquitoes and sandflies too. And then you can't make noise, you can't light a cigarette or anything else because you can be seen. And then you had to make sure it was covered. And if it was in the roots of the mangrove, you had to put some sort of platform down, or either you had to put some sort of a tarp down to keep it from getting wet. Because you didn't want that stuff getting wet. And I mean, there was some jobs that was done that we got it loaded and brought right in, but not all the time.
Did you ever feel unsafe? Like, did you ever have any hairy moments where, like, damn, I don't know if I'm going to come back?
All the time. Anytime I left the dock, there was a thought in my head that we might not. I mean, you had to idle across this bay. Them motors back in them days was 2-strokes. Anybody would tell you that them motors were louder than what they are now. So when we started the motors up and eased out of here, we'd leave out at dark or sometimes after dark. It all depends on where the job was going to be at, and how many pounds it was. Whenever we left, I might have to idle all the way across the bay on low water. And if you're doing that, another boat can come up on you quick, and you might not see him or hear him. And if you get in the bay and you get out on top, well, it leaves foam in the water. Even at night, you can follow foam. And you might see a
And
boat.
you guys have no lights on the boats. You turn them off?
No, you don't run no lights.
Right.
There wasn't no, we didn't have running lights on the boat. We did have radios, but even then we kept everything blacked out where you couldn't see it. A light with us was a dead giveaway.
Right.
You take a lighter and flick it and see it miles and miles away.
Right. You know, what about moonlight? Would that be an issue?
Moonlight.
Would you like try to go?
Moonlight would be good because it did give you a little bit of daylight, but a lot of people don't realize that that your eye, and I ain't talking about everybody, there's certain people, Native American and a lot of you black, has a rounded eye. Your pupil is rounded instead of flat, and it's a lot like a cat or animal they see after dark. And a human's eye, you get out here and you start doing nothing but after dark, your eyes adjust to it. Where you can see good after dark. You can't see like it's daylight, but you will be able to see. And the worst part about it is, whenever it happens, back then days, you start looking at everybody and they wore sunglasses. Back in them days, we had what we call Foster Grants. They were the wraparound glasses. That was the staple glasses for everybody in it, because they were dark glasses. They was polarized, but it protect your eyes. And on them boats, the wind would dry your eyes out so bad it's something else.
Yeah. I got a trailer from Outlaws of the Everglades. You want me to play it?
Yeah, please.
All right, here we go.
Now about a Florida fishing community where the local economy went to pot and where police sealed off the whole town today to put a stop to it.
We was born and raised on the water. That's what we knew was fishing.
Maybe late 70s, early 80s, they stopped our commercial fishing.
Well, all these men had the boats, they had the knowledge of how to run this area, and that's about the same time that pot smuggling started.
You know, your best day of mullet fishing isn't going to be coming home with $10,000 on unreported cash in an envelope.
I want to share it with my friends. It's a good day, it's a good time, it's a good place, this life of mine.
Where can people watch that? I can put that in our description of the show.
The people that has it, which is Grassland Production, are supposed to be in. They created the website in the name I have, which is Outlaws of the Everglades, and you can go.
It's on your Facebook, right?
Well, no, they took the name and they took a .com, which is, I didn't give permission to do it, but you can go on outlawsoftheeverglades.com, go to that website, and you can rent the full documentary, which is about an hour and 10 minutes long. And guys, we went to the Fort Myers Film Festival here about 2 weeks back, and we won Best Documentary.
I saw that. Congratulations.
And it's actually a real good documentary. And hopefully before long, the people will go ahead and put it under the right name, which is Grassland Productions, and they will be able to get it on out on Venmo or whatever you call it. And then it's supposed to also been to Prime. But when they was putting it out there, I think they put it out under Outlaws, and nobody does an individual documentary. It's got to be a production company. And I've tried to explain it to them, and I've got other people that's doing it, so hopefully they'll get it figured out. but you can rent it as of right now. As long as you got a smart TV, you can get it on your TV. And they had problems with certain ways that you could pay for it. Right now, I think it's got to be or here last week, it had to be a credit card. I don't know about now, but that's how you can see it.
Okay,
and
great.
For further notice, keep on the Facebook. You can go to my page, which is Kent Daniels, and off of it, I have the page Outlaws of the Everglades, and that is the true page, and you can follow me there, and also there's a couple emails and stuff you can get me on, which I think you've got them, don't you? If not, it's CAPTKENTD@yahoo.com. And there is another one, the true one, but this is a long one, is Outlaws of the Everglades @proton.net.
Okay.
Let me check that. That might be wrong.
And for my local people that are watching, go make a trip out to Everglades City. Go visit Chokoloskee Island. Go visit the Ted Smallwood store. These people can use your business. If you're down visiting, check it out. It's amazing. The sunsets there are the most incredible sunsets I've ever seen.
That is a .com. It is Outlaws of the Everglades.
Okay.
At protonmail.com. Also at the Smallwood store, now they have their shirts, hats, and gifts and stuff in there.
Exactly.
But we also have Outlaw of the Everglades shirts, hats, some memorabilia in it. I also come out with a knife that is carbon steel, and the knife, I bill it as come from your kitchen to your cleaning table to your butcher shop. And these are knives that's going to last 5 to 10 years. I wanted a knife that I could fillet the fish with on the boat. And it also has a good hard wooden handle, and it fits our hands. These ain't these thin handles. They're made for big hands like us Americans has got. And it also comes in a leather sheath. And
Nice.
The knife, the 6-inch and 8-inch is the most popular, and that's what we got at Smallwood store and a couple other stores too. It's $79 for the 6-inch and $89 for the 8-inch. And you can also, Skunk Ape headquarters, Trail Lake Campground, also has the knife and some memorabilia.
Yes, people, there's a Skunk Ape headquarters that does exist. I've been to it.
Mr. David Shealy. And
that's right.
There are people there, if you get a chance, stop out there, because they do have the campground, and I want to say a little bit about that place too. They have an RV park, but in the RV you can also camp on the ground. But they have a hut.
The cheeky huts.
Yes, sir. And it's up on a little bit of a pylon, and it sets over the marshland in the wet time. And you can lay there in the screen or sit out there on the porch and look at the stars, hear all the bugs, hear the gator beller at night, the frogs are hollering, the crickets, and everything else. And it is just so
smell some Skunk Ape.
That's it. And also at the Smallwood store, if you do come down and say you might not be into fishing, don't want to come out with us and fish with me or some of the locals, the Smallwood store also has a boat tour.
I didn't know that.
We do have like out there at Trail Lakes, Skunk Ape Research, our headquarters research, they have a unique boat tour. And if you ain't been on this one, there you need to. They took a gator hunting pit pan and they widened it and they lengthened it to about 4 foot wide and 16 foot long. And it's a gondola type ride.
Oh, really?
You sit down in it, you sit there, take your pictures, drink your drink. They stand on the butt end of the boat and they pole you through the Everglades.
Oh, very cool.
It's excellent. Everybody I send there just come back and rants and raves about it. And we do have other things, the airboats. There is a couple of swamp buggy rides and stuff. get to us, give us a call, or come to Smallwood Store, or out here at Trail Lakes, and ask the locals what is the best thing to do. They know the time of year, what you're going to see and what you're not going to see.
Yeah.
If you come down and don't know what you want to do, find one of the locals and ask them if it'd be a good time to go on an airboat or swamp buggy, or it's always a good time to go on a sightseeing boat tour, because you always got the dolphins, and then you've got the outer beaches and stuff. Then you've got the birds. And if you want a sunset, you've got the birds flying into the rookery as a sunset. And the sunsets, like you said, is the
incredible. Yeah.
Just,
and we see last time, what was it? Last summer we saw dolphins swimming around, a whole pot of them. It's very cool.
Get them behind the boat, and they love to play. And the wake of the boat, they'll get in there, jump and flip and roll, and they'll just follow that boat a lot of times for miles.
Yeah, we experienced that last time.
Yeah, as long as people's watching them and making noise, because they do this for y'all.
Yeah.
If you ain't paying attention to them, they're going to quit, and they're going to go on because they love
very intelligent.
They doing it for y'all. They are.
Yeah.
The human thinks that we're the most intelligent, but I don't think we are. I think they are.
No, I've heard that. I heard dolphins are more intelligent.
They are that.
Well, Captain Kent, thank you so much for coming on the show. I mean, we could go on all night long, right? Easily.
I appreciate you having me on.
We'll have to bring it back on.
We'll have to do it again.
For sure.
Next time you're down, speaking about Watson, I think me and you talked about this before. I think we need to get Beth, which was Edgar Watson's great-granddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, the man that started the killing of him was D.D. House.
Oh, interesting.
And we do have his great-granddaughter.
Interesting.
And you met her. But we also have another one too. And D.D. House's granddaughter's name is Lynn.
And she's somewhere in that vicinity of you.
Yep. Yep. But anyway, I appreciate you bringing me on. And like I said, get back down here. We got plenty of stories.
Yes, for sure. I'm going to come down there soon. My girlfriend lives in Naples, so on my way, I'm going to grab a beer with you.
Sounds like a winner.
I'll buy you some oysters or something. Gator tail.
All right, Eric. Thank you, and y'all take care now.
You too. Have a great evening, everybody.